It's now time for my favorite segment of the night, the UConn segment. We are going to jump into UConn's bounce back 69-60 win over Creighton. The first time Dan Hurley has beaten Creighton and beaten Greg McDermott since they came back to the Big East. Adama Sanogo, 26 points, 9 boards. Jordan Hawkins had 17. Tristan Newton had 13 points, was actually able to get to the foul line again. So I'll hit you first on this one, Laval. You coached the Big East last year. You do Fox Sports and Fox Sports 1 work now. Covering the Big East. So take me through kind of what you saw from UConn today and why it finally worked against Creighton.
Is Tyler ready for you to have a UConn? Have you ever had a UConn segment with Douster?
No, I don't think he has.
No, sir.
He has not.
You ready for this? This might be the end of the show here. No, I thought what I said prior to the game, Rob, was Creighton had beaten them 5 straight times. And so they hadn't, since rejoining the Big East, they had not beaten Creighton. And, they're offensively, they had never scored above 63 points. They had averaged 63 points, got 70 once, and James Bouknight had to go for 40 that night, and they still lost. They had never shot above 40%. So when Greg and the staff kind of had their number defensively. And I thought they took that to heart tonight. And Adama Sanogo took the matchup personal. He had never scored more than 13 points in a few matchups against them, and they made it a mission to feed the big fella. I thought Jordan Hawkins was tremendous in the first half, just off actions. He was aggressive, he was smooth, and then defensively they did the job. Just forcing everything. There was one point in the game where Creighton they missed like 12 straight shots in the second half. And UConn really buckled down. So I thought it was an important win for them coming off, 2 straight losses. And they stepped up and got it done at home, which you need to protect home court.
Yep, absolutely. So you mentioned how Adama Sanogo had struggled against Ryan Kalkbrenner earlier this season on this very network, the Field of 68, on our Creighton podcast. Welcome to the J. Ryan Kalkbrenner had some things to say about Adama Sanogo that the staff discovered, and the staff played for him before this game to kind of get him fired up a little bit. I think we have that audio right now, Trevor.
Big East team is obviously UConn. We've had the teams have had a good rivalry, and then obviously they got Sanogo, who they picked as player of the year. And, I got to bite my tongue a little bit about my thoughts about that selection, but definitely looking forward to that game and seeing what people think about player of the year after that. I have never beaten the team and lost to them every single time I play them. I'd circle that game too. But I don't know, it's just fun to go up against bigs that other people say are good. Me, I don't know about that. But last year I obviously did really, really good against them. And, I'm just looking to repeat that performance because I think they go a long way in proving people wrong for making that selection.
So that was interesting from Ryan Kalkbrenner. Tyler, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Have you, one, ever had a situation where a player said something like that in the media before a game? And 2, what would your reaction be in that situation if you were hearing it?
Well, first of all, I would definitely use it as motivation. So you got to be smarter than that. But also my thing is you should never worry about being picked as conference player of the year or whatever. There's a lot of, conference player of the years, who aren't actually the best player. I think last year, the kid from Wake Forest, and then they had the coach of the year. They didn't make the tournament. So it's not a good indication of overall team performance. But to me, that was just kind of selfish. But also, you never really want to give the team motivation. And, especially who you're going against, especially a guy like Sanogo. I honestly, I got to give their coach credit for finding it, digging it up and giving it to him because he had one of his best games of the year. Sometimes you got to learn a lesson the hard way and not talk trash publicly.
I didn't know that thing existed until I saw a tweet about it after the game from Dave Borges, who covers the Huskies for CTinsider.com. I had no idea. It was on our network. I had no idea it happened. I have no idea how they found it. I think that staff needs to find, get a hobby or two, maybe find something to do in the off season. Laval, as a coach, when you hear this, what would What would your reaction of this be if this happened on your team?
You know, I just don't poke the bear, right? Like we don't need. It's already hard enough to win, and we don't need to give them bulletin board material. You know, to have guys. There's enough of a right. Like those two kids, they're good players. They already have a competitive rivalry. If no words are said, Tyler, I'm sure you know, like you had competitive individual matchups that you wanted to win, and nobody said a word. So you don't need extra fuel on the fire. And Snogo hadn't been playing. Like, you know, he'd been playing. They lost a couple. He hadn't played his best, and now, you know, Danny Hurley's trying to find something to get him to level up, and he can go back in the archives and find something like that. So I think as a coach, you try to get your guys. There's just so much access, and guys have so many microphones and cameras, and you know, so many ways to speak their mind, which isn't always a good thing for the team.
Yeah, I think Hunter Dickinson is the guy that's finding that out the hard way this season. Honestly, like big picture, putting any UConn bias aside, I think that this is a good thing for the Big East, just because I think having rivalries where there is a healthy dislike between teams, Tyler, that's a good thing for the sport. That's a good thing for the league. When fans are looking forward to seeing UConn go into Creighton and play this game again, because you know, Adama and Ryan Kalkbrenner maybe don't like each other too much. They're probably two big guys in the conference, right? Like that's the kind of thing that gets people intrigued. So I kind of love it. I kind of love that they don't really like each other.
Well, as a fan, yeah, you asked me as a coach.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying. I just
No, I like it. Anytime you can add extra fuel to get the fans there, and yeah, coming from, you know, NC State's kind of known for, you know, a lot of that. It's not necessarily from the players, but it's from the fans. So I always got the engine revved up to play against them. But no, I agree. I mean, it is exciting for us to watch the game, and the fans definitely adds a whole new aspect to it. And I think you know, Hunter Dickinson, you just talked about it. He's kind of becoming that person that when he goes to away games now, it seems like every fan base is going to be after him. He's going to be one of these guys in college where, you know what, people just ain't going to like him unless it's a Michigan fan.
Yeah, I think Michigan fans are starting to get a little bit frustrated too, because he keeps talking, but he ain't doing the winning, right? They keep losing. They lost again today to Michigan State. Laval, you asked this when we were off air a second ago. I'm going to give you, I swear, my 1 minute take on what got exposed with UConn in Providence.
Get it. Let's see if we agree. Go ahead.
My thing is UConn is exceptional at the things that you can control based on effort, right? Whether it is the rebounding, the defense, how hard they play, their toughness, and they're really, really good at running like the scripted robotic stuff that Hurley calls. He has so many counters and so many sets and so many ways they can get different shots off different actions, basically off the same setup, right? They're really good at that stuff. But if you scout it well, you figure out what they're running, and you can kind of stop it and switch it and scheme your defense to be able to take it away, then they don't really have a guy that can go get you one. And they don't really get to the free throw line, right? They don't have a guy that can get to the paint and draw contact. And Adama, as good as he is, so much of his damage are like these kind of little fadeaway jump hooks. He's not really going through people. He's not putting his shoulder into people. He's not drawing fouls. So to me, that's the issue, is they don't really have, when what they do well doesn't work, they don't have a guy that can go break you down, get a shot, stop a run, do things like that. They do all the other stuff well. But when it comes to just needing a bucket, being able to give it to a guy and say, get the hell out of the way, you go get us a shot, they don't have that dude. And I think that's what we saw. But big picture, they lost at Providence and at Xavier, who are the two best teams in the conference that aren't named UConn. It's not like the sky is not falling.
No, I was saying if we were on the same page, because they asked me on the set, and I said exactly a ball in the hand guy. They had RJ Cole last year when things, you know, when the play didn't work, who can make a play? But two was the 4-man matchup. Like today, Kaluma was 5 for 16. So you had Xavier, Jerome Hunter, and Fremantle combined for 26. Bryce Hopkins goes for 27 because they're going at the freshman Caravan at the 4. They went double bigs. They played Sonogo at the 4 to try to match the bully Bryce Hopkins. So now everybody doesn't have a 4-man that could expose them, and Kaluma didn't. You know, if he made some of the shots he took into he was trying, he just didn't. He wasn't as productive as the other guys.